Welcome to New Life Live with host and founder of New Life Ministries, Stephen Arterburn. New Life Live is dedicated to transforming lives one at a time, thanks to the giving hearts of you, our listeners. Our goal is to provide you with wisdom from God's Word to give you hope and help in life's hardest places. If you have a question you'd like to ask today, our phone lines are open. Call 1-800-229-3000. That number again is 1-800-229-3000. Now here's Steve.
Welcome to New Life Live. So glad you're with us here today. And if you want to join by phone, calls are already coming in. 1-800-229-3000. Joining me today, Dr. Jill Hubbard and Milan Yerkovich. They're in the studio today. Hi, guys.
Yay.
Hey. Hi.
Hi, Jill. Hi, Steve.
Hi there, and it's at New Life. It is Love Week. We've got a spirit thing going on, and I was showing you the T-shirt that I made. I didn't have a favorite T-shirt, and so I showed Milan my T-shirt I made in the Denver airport last night. I drew Darth Vader, and then underneath the caption, "You're the reason I have hard time breathing." And and then I did another T-shirt with Misty standing on my oxygen hose in the hospital that said, "You take my breath away." Neither of those are big hits, but I do want to say this.
I'm joking.
Yeah. Anyway,
take a sip of tea.
I know.
It's all part of, got Valentine's Day coming up, and the greatest gift you could give, maybe, is, honey, let's go to that thing they're doing, that marriage thing in California, because whether it's you want your marriage to be better or you want to save it, either way, it works. And, I remember Misty and I going to a counselor, and the counselor says to Misty, "Tell me how you feel, what you feel for Steve." And she said, "Nothing." And that's where we were. And then the counselor said to me, "Well, how do you feel? What do you feel for her?" And I said, "Nothing." And she goes, "Okay, well, look at that. Look what you have in common. You both are in the same emotional place. Let's start there." And so really, we were really in a bad place. Years later, I told Misty about these shoes that I loved, and it was in the summer. I saw them. I tried them on an airport. Too expensive. I put them back and came home and told her about them. And then I was going to preach on Thanksgiving weekend. I said, I have not forgotten those shoes. I wish I had gotten them because I love to preach and new shoes. Maybe I could order them online because Christmas is coming up and I'm preaching Thanksgiving weekend. I love to preach. And she walks over to the closet and pulls a box down off the shelf, and she had already bought those shoes from me. And that's attunement, I think. She so knew and sensed, and it was there. And so my point is, no matter where you are, you could be like us and really at a place where you just don't feel anything. And if you'll do the work, you can get back to a place where you're literally attuned with each other. That can happen. Now, you can go to marriage counseling and do that over a year, once a week. But if you'll come to us this weekend, we can get you, I don't know, maybe in some cases 6 months down the road there, because you're working with other couples, you're hearing information you're not going to hear in a private session. It really is transformational, Milan, and I love getting to do it with you and Kay. It just changes the course of a marriage history.
And you know what Misty did? She had observed you enough that she knew what would please you.
Yeah.
And that's what love really is. It has
Right.
foresight and it is thoughtful. It's observant.
Thinking of the other person.
I'm thinking of the other person.
Right? Not just protecting myself.
Right. It is what they like. And a lot of times people do things that they want to do or that they think the other person likes. But to really actually find something that's meaningful like that, and you know what? You're still telling that story.
And you know what?
That's how impactful it was, which is great.
And I'm wearing the shoes today.
Wow.
Aw.
We'll take a break.
All right. We want to see them.
Yeah.
I came into this thinking that my husband was the cause of many of our issues.
The New Life Intimacy and Marriage Workshop is coming to Southern California February 11th to the 13th.
But after learning about our attachment styles, I understood how our past hurts were playing into our present problems.
Join Steve Arterburn.
It's been a dream of mine for a long time to help people to grow more intimately together, and we believe that everybody has room to grow in the intimacy level of their life.
And Milan Yerkovich.
We help couples understand how their attachment style is sabotaging their current relationship. And then we teach them how to create comfort in a relationship.
And New Life's group counselors will help you focus on the area that will benefit your marriage most. To register or to find out more, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Here at this workshop, we had our first ever conversation without yelling, blaming, and accusing.
1-800-NEW-LIFE. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
We are back. Steve Arterburn here. Dr. Jill Hubbard. She's the author of Forgiving Our Fathers and Mothers and other books. And Milan Yerkovich with K wrote the amazing book, How We Love. Those are available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE or newlife.com. It's where you can find those. You can also find out how to join us this weekend for our marriage conference. It's not just speaking, but you're working in a group with other couples, and it really is astounding the kind of progress that can be made.
Steve, can I say something right there for a moment?
Please do. Yes.
You will hear things you've never heard before. You will hear things that are really the deep roots as to why we really struggle in relationship and why we're reactive and why core patterns are set up between couples, and then what to do about it to heal that and to turn into something new. So that's the exciting part.
Well, and I think, Milan, you really connect the head to the heart. And that's where the change occurs. A lot of us have a lot of head knowledge and we have a lot of feeling, right? But we've got to connect the two to move forward.
Great way to put it.
I'm going to say one more thing before we talk with Timothy. But I think the big, huge headline for a lot of people is that what they think is supposed to be the marriage and the roles that are played is not. You know, if there's any kind of dictator doormat thing, if there's any kind of I'm the grand leader and you're the follower stuff, versus what it says in Ephesians 5:21, where it says to submit yourselves one to another out of reverence for Christ. It's a mutually submissive relationship. And the leadership that a man has is like being the first to be up in the morning praying, reading the Bible, the first to ask for forgiveness, the first one to care what other people are saying and feeling. Those kinds of leadership, spiritual leadership traits, they're missing in a lot of marriages on the men's side. And then on the woman's side, you either end up with a person who's playing out this doormat role and letting things happen that don't need to happen. You know, we hear it all the time. He's a sex addict or a drug addict, and everybody's angry at mom. And she doesn't understand why. And we help you understand these things. But I'll tell you this understanding how you got together and this attachment style that you have, mind-boggling if you've never ever really looked at it. It's just
it was
helpful.
put into you or imprinted into you before you were even verbal, before you were, as we say, pre-verbal, which it imprints it into a part of the brain that is the part of the brain that is really body feeling states and feeling memories or body memories. And those memories or those body imprints are whether I feel good being close to you, or whether it be like to be more distant, or whether I get scared when I'm close to you. And all of these feelings are set in very early. And because they're pre-verbal, we think that's just me and my personality, but actually we can grow out of that as we get to know it, and so that we're more in charge of our reactivity than the presets.
Absolutely. So maybe you are functioning under some kind of reactive survival strategy. Okay, so you survived. Now maybe it's time to bring back some romance, make the relationship redemptive, become responsive rather than reactive. All you have to do is just call us, 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We still have room,
and
but
to,
not for long.
rebuild the trust.
Yeah.
I have a couple couples going, so you guys do
really?
an extra good job this weekend because
oh boy, that's exciting.
yeah, I'm really excited to
And
see
you know
how it
what-
impacts them.
Jill, do you agree with me that what Misty did for Steve, buying him shoes, was romantic?
Absolutely.
See, what we think the word romantic means, this is a perfect application of,
Putting another person first, thinking of them, thinking of what they like, that's very romantic.
absolutely.
Didn't it melt your heart, Steve?
I started crying,
Yeah.
and I kind of got choked up when I realized I was wearing the shoes, telling the story. I didn't plan on that. Yeah. All right, let's go talk to Timothy. Timothy, you're on New Life Live, 1-800-229-3000 for anybody else. Welcome to the program. How could we help today?
Yeah, I've dealt with a lot of trauma in my life that I've overcome, but I'm still dealing with anger as a result of that. I am engaged to the most wonderful woman I've ever met, and I do not want to be an angry husband. But it seems like when I try to seek treatment for helping me figure out how I'm going to deal with the anger, I hit walls left and right.
Okay.
Because it's trauma rooted, it appears to me that no one wants to help me with it.
When you say you're over the trauma, but you're still angry, it sounds like to me maybe you're not quite over the trauma if you're still angry.
True.
So let's just start with what was the traumatic thing that happened?
About a 15-year span of abuse I suspect from birth to age 15, 16.
I'm really sorry about that. And what did you do to try to take care of that?
I have tried group therapy with NAMI and a couple other places, but they've asked me to leave. I've mostly been able to process it through prayer, scripture, meditation, and poetry.
Okay. And
your book, Healing is a Choice, has helped in there as well.
Okay. But has the anger impacted your relationship? I mean, you're not married yet, but has it shown up in the relationship with this person?
It has shown up not aimed at her or against her, but it has shown up like with how my parents treat me and stuff.
Okay. And so your question is, how do I keep the anger from impacting the marriage that's going to take place? Is that right?
Yes. Yes.
All right. Well, why don't we start with you, Jill, and then we'll hear from Milan, and I have a couple of thoughts.
Well, Timothy, I'm so glad that you are recognizing this. You're seeing it as a problem. You're not just blaming other people, and that you want to protect this new relationship moving forward. Because I think it's insightful of you, and I think you're realizing that it'll eventually come out with her. Because as we move closer together and have greater intimacy, we often bring up our more primitive selves. And so there will be issues there. And I think that's important to talk about, and to talk about with her how to disarm that when it does come up, right? For you, Timothy, I think I'm not sure why you're having a hard time finding good treatment. But there are so many trauma-informed therapists that you could work with, and even doing some EMDR work might be really valuable in helping you to kind of neutralize the emotion that is associated with all of what happened to you.
Mm-hmm.
Milan, do you have a thought here?
Yes.
Okay.
Timothy, why were you asked to leave the therapy group you were in?
2 reasons. One was the trauma, but I believe the bigger part was how I mentioned how my faith has been pretty much the only thing that's helped me to get to where I'm at.
Mm-hmm.
And that I was kind of a squeaky wheel towards the lack of mental health availability
mm-hmm.
in the area I live in.
Mm-hmm. And so by squeaky wheel, I'm going to use another way to say that. You were angry at a lack of services.
Yes, that's a good way to put it.
Okay. So I'm going to share something with you that may sound a little bit counter to what we might consider helpful here. But if you got involved in a grief recovery group, grieving is one of the most powerful ways to heal the hurt inside of us. Learning to be alongside of other people that have also suffered losses of all kinds. And when we think of anger management, we don't think of a grief recovery group, but grief does help us. It helps us to alleviate the pain, and we're able to resolve the pain, and then we're less likely to be angry because we don't have this cauldron inside of hurt and pain and sadness. So I'd really encourage you to be with someone that's very emotionally focused as a therapist that can help you, and not just a left brain, let's count to 10 or do these things to manage your anger, but let's really deal with the roots of it, and let's really grieve the hurt that came to Timothy.
Timothy, tell me real quick about your parents. Where are they, the one that abused you? What's going on with them?
My bio parents did. I am with adopted family now.
Okay, but what about the people that abused you? Tell me what's happening with them.
As far as I know, the only one still living, well, the police are refusing to investigate.
Okay, but
Citing too much time has passed.
do you have any idea what their childhood was like, or how they grew up, or anything like that?
No.
Timothy,
Well,
grief, Timothy, is going to be one of the keys, and allowing your fiance to see you cry, and to be a part of the comfort process that where she would say, I wish I could have been with that little boy. I would have loved him, or I would have protected him, and for her to identify with that history of pain is really important.
Well,
Jill?
yeah, and so often, Timothy, people have like a favorite emotion, and it sounds like yours is anger. So whatever you're feeling, it sounds like it comes out in anger. So you have to ask yourself, okay, what if it weren't anger, what would it be? What emotion am I protecting with this anger? Because see, anger feels more powerful, even though it's actually kind of a feeling of being out of control. So underneath that, is it harder for you to be sad, like Milan is talking about? Is it harder for you to get in touch with that grief and loss?
Or what am I afraid
Yes.
of that I kind of hold back that fear? Before you get married, I would like to make this suggestion. Since you don't want the anger to hurt the marriage, I really think you should, with your spouse and a counselor, develop a plan for what's going to happen if, once married, you flip into this anger mode. and that you would agree that you would leave, that you would even, until you're at a place where you're able to ask for forgiveness and all, that you wouldn't come back until that's resolved. So I think Milan is really onto this grieving, and I think Jill is saying you want to find out what is that emotion under the anger, because man, anger gives us power, or a feeling of power, but it really does block the power that God has that wants to heal and help us. You've done so many of the right things, but man, that experience that you had is just so severe. It's going to take some more work, and if you'll hold on, we'll try to help you find someone. I'm going to send you two things: the Emotional Freedom Workbook. I'm going to send you the Every Man's Bible, which is just a great study Bible for you.
I'm about 100 pounds overweight. I'm 30 years old, and I'm just really discouraged. I'm scared, and I don't want to fail again.
Does this sound like your story? It doesn't have to. If you want to live free of obsessions and compulsions in your eating habits, New Life's Lose It for Life Extensive can help. The Extensive features a one-day Zoom session presented by Steve Arterburn on Saturday, March 19th, plus 5 weeks of aftercare that include a weekly group session led by your credentialed New Life Network counselor, 5 on-demand training sessions from Steve Arterburn and fitness expert Michelle Spadafora, 3 30-minute private coaching sessions from a nutrition and fitness coach, the Lose It for Life book and workbook, and exercise gear to allow you to start a home fitness routine you'll actually enjoy. If you're finally ready to stop going from diet to diet and begin a comprehensive plan that addresses the psychological, emotional, and spiritual aspects of a healthy life, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE or go to newlife.com.
I was really living a very anxiety-filled life. I turned on New Life, and the topic that day was about anxiety. And just by listening, I got relief.
You can help New Life stay on the air by joining Club New Life today. When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, we'll send you the new member thank you gift of the Life Recovery Bible personal size, the 1-year Life Recovery Prayer Devotional, the New Life Journal, a New Life pen and highlighter, and a New Life zipper tote to hold it all. Plus, there are ongoing benefits like access to the Club New Life video library, the monthly Club New Life CD or download, quarterly resources, free shipping on purchased resources, and discounts on workshops. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. Support Club New Life, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today. We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back, and we're on YouTube, if you didn't know that. And I'll tell you what else is on YouTube. There are a lot of great videos and stuff. Milan's done them. Jill's done them. I'm also going to send one of Jill's books to Timothy, the Forgiving Our Fathers and Mothers. If you are angry, there's about 90% chance mommy and daddy are somewhere in that anger. And Jill's written this book just to talk about that thing.
Well, and let me just say, Steve, it's not that we're trying to push Timothy to forgive immediately, but the book talks about a lot of situations where of parents that should probably have never been parents, right? So it kind of has the whole gamut of severity.
Right. The people that I needed to forgive, first I had to look at their history and say, okay, makes sense. Then I had to kind of grieve what they stole, and then I had to accept them as humans like me, and then I had to embrace what was left, this life, and then, finally, you aren't, well, I just say this. You do the work, and one day you wake up, you have more good days than bad days. And then you kind of know, okay, we're on the right track.
And that's a great way to put it, Steve.
Yeah.
The gradual process, I have more good days and bad days.
Or you have a moment where you're not thinking about it.
Right.
Right? And
Right.
then that starts to grow.
Yeah, as opposed
and you're
to
surprised.
as opposed to something, just that's instantaneous.
Right. Yes.
I believe in slow miracles.
Yes. I do too. I
Yeah.
like that, Milan.
Well, I'll tell you, the person that said to me after just after the divorce thing I went through 20 some odd years ago, this person didn't say, "How you doing?" They said, "Is this a good day or is this a bad day?" And I
That's
just
really
thought,
good.
okay, you're like the smartest person in the entire universe, because this is a good day. But, that's just such a wonderful thing to ask, because then, it acknowledges the reality. All right, enough about that. 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Hope that something we say here is going to help you no matter what you're going through. And how about we go to Nikki from Washington, D.C., listening WAVA. Hi, Nikki, and welcome to New Life. How are you doing today?
Yes, hello. I'm doing
Hi.
very well, thank you.
Good.
Hello?
Yes, we're right here. Ask us your question. What's going on?
Yes, so actually I was just trying to see what help I can get. My daughter came to me with a problem. She's having problem with pornography, and I don't know how to help her. I don't know what to do.
Okay. So you have no idea how common this is. And I just, this weekend when I was speaking in Colorado Springs, this couple comes up, nicest, most wonderful Christian couple, says, our 15-year-old boy just came to us and said, I am addicted to pornography. I can't stop. It is so prevalent, and it's been so unaddressed, but it's everywhere. If your kids are online, it is there. And so first of all, what was your response when she said this to you? How did you respond?
Well, I gathered her together and I hugged her, and I thanked her for telling me.
Good
because
for
I didn't
you.
know she was the one. I thanked her for telling me, and I told her how much I loved her, and that nothing can stop me from loving her.
So
And,
good.
Wow.
Yes, great, wonderful. And she is a victim of this culture, this society behind the screens, which is so anti-Christian worldview, valueless, people making money off of pornography.
Over-sexualized society, really.
So the first thing is to thank your child like you did, and the second thing is, I'm with you. I'm going to go through this with you. We're going to deal with this together, no matter what. I'm here. We're going to find the right resources, and if the first resource isn't helpful, we'll go to the next one or whatever. But to me, the resourcing parent is the great parent. That's what your call is, and now you've called us for that. I think if she could find we could help you find a great female therapist that specializes in teens her age, that's a beginning point right there. And the next thing, then I'll turn it over to Jill and Milan, but the next thing is being sure that she's got a healthy youth group, and it could be your church youth group, it could be I don't know, any
Just
of
the best youth group around, right?
Yeah.
Regardless whether it's your church or not, a place where
Right.
she can plug in.
But a place where there are great adults and great leaders and young life, that kind of thing. But when we come back, we'll give you some more help here, because so many parents, you have this problem, but you don't know it because your child didn't come to you. And it is something they're so ashamed of that they would rather often lie than say, yeah, I'm dealing with this. And you think, well, we've got all the filters and all that in place. And then they get on a bus or they're standing around with somebody else and boom, right there in their face. And it causes a reaction. And man, we're going to help right for this.
For most of my life, I've been dealing with an opiate addiction.
Why is opioid addiction quickly becoming one of our nation's biggest killers? Maybe it's because it isn't only those who are addicted who are in denial.
We did what I see so many parents do, is it can't be an addiction. There's something medically wrong.
It's impossible to solve a problem when you don't know what you're up against, and families will try to find any explanation except the one that will put them on the right path.
Alcoholism and drug addiction is a family disease. It doesn't affect just the individual.
If someone you love is abusing painkillers, know what you're up against. It's time to admit it's addiction and seek treatment. Call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We have Christ-centered partner treatment centers around the country. Call 1-800-639-5433 or visit us online at newlife.com.
We just made a decision. We will do whatever it takes.
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and for 30 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
Your ministry has saved my life.
If you struggle with emotional hurt, family or marriage problems, the pit of depression, or the pain of addictions, we can help.
I'm down 100 pounds now from what I was.
You guys are awesome. You're a blessing to America.
Our treatment programs provide clinically appropriate solutions from licensed professionals, all in the biblical framework.
I have had problems with alcohol. I think God has ordained this place to be His.
You don't have to be a prisoner of your pain. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
She tells me that I'm a new man, and I feel like a new man.
It worked for me, and it can work for them too.
This time it is different.
If you're ready to take the first step toward genuine spiritual and emotional healing, please call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. God can open the door to a better tomorrow right now. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433.
We're glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back, and we are talking about just this growing, horrific problem of online pornography and women getting into it and stuck on it youngest ages possible. And here's a 14-year-old saying to mom, I can't stop this. I need help. Jill, let's start with you. What are you thinking?
Well, Milan and I were just saying he was going to jump in first.
Let's go with Milan first then, because we don't want to go out of order.
It does not matter. But listen, Nikki, I love your embracing your daughter and the openness and the love and support. And I would really start with her. You said, what do I say? And I would say this to her, that I would celebrate that God made her as a sexual being. And I would say that is how God made us. He made us male and female, and He made us as sexual beings. And all of us have to get used to being sexual as human beings and as Christians. And we have to learn to then channel it in the right directions. That's why we have Every Man's Battle, et cetera, et cetera. So for all of us, it's a challenge when we become interested in sexuality to channel it in the right direction. And so I would simply say, this is what we're going to work on, channeling it in the correct direction. Number two, I would ask, who are her influencers? Who are the people she's hanging out with? And odds are she's in a group of some sort or with some friends that gravitate toward this. And do you know the answer to that question, Nikki?
Well, I asked her how she got started on this. She said that it was because when I started talking to them about sex and about the information and not to look at the stuff on the web. That's when she went to look for it to see what mommy was talking about.
Sure. So
and I asked her if her friends were looking at it. She said no. She was just she just saw it one time and she just kept going back.
Well, this illustrates something, Nikki, that we are curious about sex, and kids are very curious, and it is exciting to see sexual sexuality. And so we can become highly addicted to that and habituated to that. And I would just really start there and say, look, this is a great start. Let's just work on controlling that. But ultimately, walking away from it and to detoxify yourself from it, and then to basically also understand a little bit more about God's version of holy sex and what his expectations are, and that we all have to control our minds. Even after we get married, we have to learn to control the way we think and how our sexual minds work. What would you add to that, Jill?
I agree, Milan. I think this is really an opportunity, Nikki, and she's invited you into this. Like, she's seen the world's view of sex. And so, but it's so different, like Milan, like you said. And so to really teach her about what is a loving relationship, how was it meant to be? And, to look at even some written resources on like Boundaries in Marriage and some of those books that can show you the proper context for things and why it's important, why God says to wait. He's not a buzzkill, right? Yeah. He doesn't want to deprive us of fun. Right? But outside of the proper context, emotionally, we're not ready for it. And so that's why we wait, right? Nikki, in exploring how she got into it, I mean, there's so much that bombards people. That's enough. But sometimes kids are exposed, through a form of abuse or people showing them things way too early. And so I would just make sure that there's nothing that happened to her early on.
Good point.
Right? That's really important to check that out for her to think about. And sometimes people think, well, it's nothing because they didn't touch me. Well, it still can be a form of abuse if people are talking to them or showing them things that are well beyond their years. And so that's really important to explore too.
So finally, I just want to say, you can talk with her about every adolescent has a job, and we want to help every adolescent do this well. And it's integrating their healthy sexuality into all of who they are. And just like, to integrate spirituality into all of who you are means that you don't go to church on Sunday and say all these things, and then on Monday you live a different life. Well, by the same token, sexuality can't be this little hidden, secretive behavior that causes shame. That's not completing the task of a healthy, integrated life, an integrated whole person. And so one of the things you want to help her see is this is preventing the healthy integration of your sexuality into all of who you are. And so that's why we have to not succumb to the temptation to go back to it. I'll send you this Every Young Woman's Battle. I think that will give you some help. But I really do believe her getting in that youth group where there is somebody that just absolutely loves her, cares about her, finding the counselor that can help her with this. Because some things have been turned on very young here and activated that it's just so tragic that this is what happens when kids get into online images.
And then there's so many young girls that, online are posting over-sexualized pictures of themselves, which really speaks, it's like, how did we end up here, right? With all of our education for women and all of that. But we have, because there's still, for so many girls, this feeling of like, this is the way to get acceptance and attention.
I just read an article this week about that girls who are being overly sexualized on TikTok are having tremendous problems with depression and anxiety, and it's being
their
observed.
Self-esteem is going down because it doesn't do it.
Well, how do you compete? It's I have to somehow be better than, and it's just a horrible world to get into.
All right.
Absolutely.
Speaking of horrible worlds to get into, Larry
has to do the dirty work.
is in the studio, and you're just back from Every Man's Battle, where a lot of guys got out of some horrible worlds that they were into. Tell us about the weekend a little bit.
Part of my struggle here at New Life is every time I go to a workshop, I think that workshop is the best thing we've ever done. And this weekend, I'm going to think the same thing going into the marriage workshop. That workshop's the best thing we do. It's just amazing, Steve. Not only are we helping the guys at the workshop, we're helping the alumni. That's a whole nother discussion another day, but it's really powerful that guys are coming back to that workshop after they've already attended and sitting through it again and getting help with a counselor at groups.
So great
so
that
it's
they
really powerful.
were there. Yeah.
Wonderful testimonies. It was a good weekend.
Good.
But I wanted to give you a testimony from a woman who came to Intimacy and Marriage at an earlier workshop a year ago. And she says, before coming to this weekend, you could call me Mrs. Black and White. It's all good or all bad, no in between, no shades of gray. I'm out to show you I'm right, and I just want people to hear me, listen to me, see me, validate my feelings. I want things to change. This weekend has been powerful and instructive. Seeing how Kay and Milan interact with each other was the best example in what I aspire to achieve in my marriage. Their love, vulnerability, mutual respect was apparent at every angle, very powerful. I leave here with hope and tools to work towards a better marriage. My husband saw my heart like never before. I'm encouraged. I have more joy. I'm more compassionate towards my spouse. I heard a little bit of your conversation earlier in the program where I think you, Milan, said they will see and hear things that they never heard before.
Right.
And they hear it from Steve, they hear it from you and Kay, but they witness you and Kay. And I think that's an incredible thing that we offer at this workshop.
And then they have these counselors who have been there. They've done this weekend so many times. They know how to respond. So I don't know what your fatal excuse is for not coming, but just get on the phone and say, hey, we need to be there. Sign up, 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Also, there's scholarship money available. Some of the people have given scholarships so that others can attend. So don't let money be the reason that you don't call.
And it's 80 degrees
Yeah,
here.
there you go.
Yeah.
And if you can help us, we'll send you a copy of Dr. Dave Stoop and Dr. Jan Stoop's book, Smart Love. It's a wonderful, wonderful book on the emotions and how we connect intelligently, emotionally in our marriage. Send that to you as a way of saying thank you.
Steve, I shared with guys this weekend that even though you pay to come to the workshops, that what you pay does not cover everything in terms of expense for us at the workshop. So we do need your additional support.
I've been struggling with a porn addiction for the last 20 years.
In today's world, men are barraged with inappropriate content and images all day, every day. Some say that certain behaviors are just no big deal. They're just part of being a guy. But it's simply not true. It's a battleground for every man, and the opportunities to fail are everywhere. The Every Man's Battle Workshop can help.
I'm 10 years out. It's really changed my whole life with my whole family.
For over 20 years, New Life Ministries has been helping men regain their integrity and purity through their one-of-a-kind Every Man's Battle Workshop. Now the workshop is coming to Dallas March 5th to the 6th. Don't wait for him to call. To find out more, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE or go to newlife.com.
The tools that you guys gave me really has changed me essentially in every way. I'm just so much more of a man that God wanted me to be.
1-800-NEWLIFE.
I was really living a very anxiety-filled life. I turned on New Life, and the topic that day was about anxiety. And just by listening, I got relief.
You can help New Life stay on the air by joining Club New Life today. When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, we'll send you the new member thank you gift of the Life Recovery Bible personal size, the 1-year Life Recovery Prayer Devotional, the New Life Journal, a New Life pen and highlighter, and a New Life zipper tote to hold it all. Plus, there are ongoing benefits like access to the Club New Life video library, the monthly Club New Life CD or download, quarterly resources, free shipping on purchased resources, and discounts on workshops. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. Support Club New Life, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
We are back. Steve Arterburn here, 1-800-229-3000 to join us on the program. We'll do this for another 1 hour and 15 minutes. 1-800-229-3000. That is the phone number. We'd love to talk with you, give you the kind of help that we hope will kind of change the course of your life. That's what we're going for. One thing I'll mention, we have a new thing that we're doing. It's starting pretty soon. You ought to sign up if you want to do something about that weight that you've never done before. Michelle Spadafora, you can see her YouTube videos on, there are about 13 workouts that we love to point people to on the YouTube channel, on our YouTube channel. But Michelle's going to join us, and we're going to do a Lose It for Life extensive. It's a 6-week process. So in addition to the Saturday experience, we're going to keep doing it for 6 weeks, thinking that that's what it takes for us to change those patterns, behaviors, and habits. You can find out about that at newlife.com or 1-800-NEW-LIFE. If you sign up before March the 4th, you get the $200 early bird special. But right now, I want to talk with, how about we go to Ann from Ventura, California, listening on KKLA. Hello, Ann. How are you today? What's going on?
Hi, good morning. I'm okay. I hope you are all doing well. So I'm calling because I'm fairly new in my faith, and I'm having, for the last 9 months, issues with a neighbor where it's pretty much harassment at this point from her towards me. And I need help how to handle it and address it using my newfound faith as a guidance rather than my human instinct of wanting to, confront and be angry, because I'm struggling with anger thoughts about her treatment towards me.
What started the problem with your neighbor?
I've lived on that property for almost 3 years now. Last April, I became a stay-at-home mom, and I started noticing when I would come home from dropping off my children at school, I could hear from within her home, either the window or the door, I could hear just obscene names, and I didn't think it was about me because we didn't have a relationship. We've never had a falling out of any sorts or nothing happened. So I disregarded it, kept thinking, maybe she's watching TV or she's on the phone. But it progressed to where it was directly towards me. I mean, from within her home, this and that. Yeah. Then it started when my kids were with me. Then now we're at the point where she'll record me when she sees me out in public. This morning she flipped me off when she was driving by me. So,
but you've never had a conversation with her about.
I tried addressing it with her when it first started, and all she did was deny it, and then pretty much just go run into her home, and then it got worse.
Okay.
And by any chance, does this woman have dementia?
I don't know. I mean, she's in her mid-50s, and I'm not sure how.
I'm wondering this because I actually had the same situation with a neighbor. I mean, a little different, where we had been friendly for years, and then all of a sudden she would give me dirty looks. She would run in her house when she saw me. She just started being really different. And I thought, okay, what have I done to offend her? And I was racking my brain, right? Well, then she passed away, and what I found out is she had dementia, as well as being alcoholic, but still. So there may be some things going on with her that, and you're thinking interpersonally, but it may be just what is going on with her.
Yeah. And if you see, if you know that this person has a consistent visitor that might be a son, daughter, or something, you need to go out to the car there with your card in your hand and your phone number and say, please call me about your mother or whomever, and get them to call you. Because they may be the key to getting help for her or helping change the situation. Milan, do you have any thoughts here about anything?
Well, along with that, Jill, and Anne, I know that this is very disconcerting, and I feel really bad for you, but along with some forms of dementia and other things can be a paranoid delusion.
Yes.
A delusional state where they're very fearful. And then the paranoid is that part, and then there is a delusion that somehow they see, think, or feel.
Yeah.
And it's very powerful, and then they get very frightened, and they get very scared, and they start acting.
They see you as dangerous.
Yeah, that all of a sudden.
And that you're out to get them.
Absolutely, that they can see you as a threat. And what's interesting here is, before you said all this, Jill, I was thinking of this as she started her story. I wonder what's really happening to her.
Yeah.
Does she have a spouse or anybody living in the house with her, Anne?
She does. She does have a spouse and older children. When they are home, none of it, it's quiet, it's calm. This behavior takes place when she's home alone. And I know this now because I'm home now.
Yeah. Well, you need to talk with these folks. You need to talk with them, connect with them.
So,
Milan.
So Steve is right about how to go about this. And this is also in line, you asked this question, this is also in line with your new Christian faith, which is to speak the truth in love and to come to people when there are issues and concerns and not avoid it or reject people or return evil for evil or insult for insult, but rather to go, what's wrong? There's something wrong here.
Right.
And you might be seeing something, Anne, that the rest of the family doesn't know is there.
Right.
Yeah. And to say to maybe the oldest adult child or to the spouse, I am really concerned about some things that you may not be aware of. Because they don't tend to happen when you're there, but when you're gone. And, there also, there are so many resources in your area, and there is an organization that prevents elders from being abused. And so even to end up asking someone to come and investigate, is something happening here that is causing her to react this way, might be the door to getting the help that she needs. Proverbs 10:10, when you wink at wrong, you cause trouble, but an open rebuke brings lasting peace. It's just an encouragement to not do nothing, thinking that Christians should not do nothing. Sometimes the tough thing is the right thing, and it is to intervene, but just to try to do it as subtly and carefully as possible to start.
The whole thing of being an observer and asking God, why are you letting me see this? I've asked him that many times. There was a family out in the Riverside area that we know was just the oldest. One of the girls got out and she told the police, and they came and they found this atrocious living conditions.
Right,
all
over
the 9
the news.
kids. It was just horrible. But the neighbors, all of us need to be looking.
Right.
What are the signs that something's really wrong in that house? And then do something about it.
Right, and you've already talked to her, Anne, so that's why the next step is go to the husband or the adult children.
And often a mentally ill person will not reflect back to you in a sound, healthy way. Oh, nothing's wrong. They won't be able to acknowledge the difficulty.
Yeah. All right, if you need help, it's 1-800-NEW-LIFE. If you want to join us for the next program, 1-800-229-3000. And really think and pray, and then call us about this intimacy and marriage intensive. 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Hey, we love you. Have a great pre-Valentine's week.
We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433, or write to us at New Life Ministries, P.O. Box 1029, Lake Forest, California, 92609. Please join us again tomorrow for New Life Live.
Hi, thank you for watching New Life Live. You know, New Life Live is a Christian counseling program where we deal with the hard questions about life, relationships, kids, free choice, freedom of will, whatever. It's all right there on New Life Live every day, every weekday, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. If you want to call into the live broadcast, you can find the schedule on newlife.com or click the social media link right below. You can see every episode of New Life Live on the New Life YouTube channel. Watch it with a friend, watch it later. Be sure to subscribe and hit that bell so you'll never miss another episode. So if you want to listen on the go, download the app. The link is right below. And I hope if you need some information, if you want to get some help, you'll call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. And I'll see you next time.